Celtic's transfer window has gone from bad to worse overnight. The Iheanacho deal is dead, Saraki is gone, and now the real story behind why it all fell apart is coming out. But there is a World Cup winger who could be heading to Parkhead, a former Manchester United prospect who has just been left behind on their pre-season tour, and a young Hun Jun update that will get under the skin of every Celtic fan. Let's get into it, but first make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. The full story behind the Kelechi Iheanacho situation has finally come out, and depending on how you look at it, it either explains everything or explains nothing at all. Iheanacho has now officially completed a move to Bursaspor, a newly promoted second-tier Turkish side. That tells you everything you need to know about the direction his career has taken since leaving Celtic. Marcelo Saraki has also confirmed he will not be returning to Parkhead. Two deals gone in the space of 24 hours, less than 2 weeks before the new Premiership season begins. Celtic's version of events, briefed to the Herald, is that the club had agreed a deal in principle worth around £12,000 a week, with the potential to rise to £17,000 through performance bonuses. Then, according to the club, communication from the players' representatives went completely silent before they came back to the table this week, asking for around £47,000 per week. If that version is accurate, you can understand why Celtic walked away. You do not go from 17,000 to 47,000 and expect anyone to keep negotiating. But here is the problem. Celtic publicly confirmed when Iheanacho signed last September that the club held an option to extend his contract by a further 12 months. That option has now expired. It was never activated. Instead of simply keeping him contracted by triggering that option before the deadline, the club allowed it to lapse and then tried to renegotiate terms from scratch. That handed control of the entire situation to the players' camp. Supporters are not interested in excuses about wage demands when the club had the power to avoid all of this and chose not to use it. Now for the main story, as Celtic have stepped up their pursuit of Real Oviedo winger Heisim Hassan and have reportedly made him a priority target following the double blow of losing Iheanacho and Saraki. According to Sunsport, Celtic have now made contact with Hassan's representatives as they explore a deal for the 23-year-old Egyptian international. Hassan impressed throughout last season in Spain and also featured for Egypt at the FIFA Club World Cup, playing in their last 16 defeat to Argentina, where he caught the attention of clubs across Europe. He has a reported €12 million release clause in his contract at Real Oviedo, though earlier reports suggested he could be available for significantly less, given that he has only 1 year remaining on his deal. French giants Marseille have also been linked with him, meaning Celtic will need to act quickly if they want to avoid losing him to a rival. This is the kind of signing Celtic supporters have been asking for. A young, dynamic wide attacker with World Cup experience, still only 23, with a profile that fits what Martin O'Neill needs in his squad, ahead of both the Premiership title defence and European qualification. After a frustrating week in the transfer market, this feels like a genuine lead. The Hassan move is now Celtic's main focus going into the weekend, and the expectation is that things will move quickly. In other news, Celtic are set for talks with South Korean football officials next week over young Hun Jun's involvement in this year's Asian Games, and it appears the club have already accepted he will go. Yang has been named as one of South Korea's 3 permitted overage players for the tournament, which takes place in Japan between the 15th of September and the 3rd of October. The problem is the competition falls outside FIFA's official international window, which means Celtic are under no obligation to release him. The club have taken exactly that stance before. Hun Jun was blocked from attending the Asian Games previously while at Parkhead. But this time, the situation appears different. According to Record Sport, Celtic have already accepted that Yang will be released. The discussions next week are expected to focus on the timescale of his departure rather than whether he goes at all. The timing is the issue that will infuriate supporters most. The Asian Games overlap with the first league meeting of the season between Celtic and Rangers at Celtic Park. Yang looks set to miss that fixture. There is a bigger picture worth noting here. Winning the Asian Games carries enormous significance for South Korean players because gold medalists receive exemption from the country's mandatory military service. For Yang, this is not just a football tournament. It is a life decision. In other news, Manchester United defender Tyler Frederickson has been left behind as the club departed for their pre-season tour, with reports from BBC journalist Simon Stone suggesting the 21-year-old is expected to leave Old Trafford permanently this summer. While no destination has yet been confirmed, this is a very interesting development from a Celtic perspective. Celtic were heavily linked with Frederickson during the January transfer window. A deal was understood to be close before an injury brought the proposed move to an abrupt halt. The interest was genuine, the timing just did not work out. A lot has changed since January. Celtic confirmed the permanent departure of Mike Narocki on Friday, which leaves Martin O'Neill's options at centre-back considerably thinner heading into a new season. Dane Murray is understood to be ahead of where Narocki was in the pecking order, but with Champions League qualifying approaching and a title to defend, Celtic will need more than one option at the back. Frederickson is a Manchester United Academy product who has made 2 senior appearances for the club. He is 21 years old, he has Premier League exposure, and he was considered good enough for Celtic to pursue him seriously just 6 months ago. If the interest was real in January and his situation at Old Trafford is now genuinely resolved, Celtic could find themselves with a second opportunity to make this happen, one to watch closely over the next few days. Lastly, there is a significant update on the Hassan front this morning, with reports now claiming Celtic are growing increasingly optimistic about completing the deal and are preparing to submit a formal bid worth around £7 million. This follows on from the earlier report that Celtic had made contact with the player's representatives and identified him as a priority target. The situation appears to be moving fast. A £7 million offer sits comfortably below the €12 million release clause in Hassan's contract, but with only 1 year remaining on his deal at Real Oviedo, the Spanish club may well be willing to negotiate. Earlier reports had suggested he could be available for closer to €8 million, making Celtic's mooted offer roughly in line with that expectation. The club are said to want this concluded quickly, with the intention of getting Hassan into Martin O'Neill's squad as soon as possible ahead of the Premiership campaign. Marseille remain a threat in the background. Their interest in Hassan is real, and if Celtic delay or hesitate, there is a genuine risk of losing him to a club who can offer European football at a higher level. But after a brutal few days in the transfer market, the Hassan pursuit gives the support something to be genuinely excited about. A 23-year-old Egyptian international winger, fresh off a World Cup campaign, available for a fee that Celtic can clearly reach. If this one gets over the line, it changes the mood around Parkhead completely. That's all the latest Celtic news for today. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. Hail, hail.